Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today. We've already discussed and gotten a good idea of how complex your missions are in both of your areas of operation. And, you know, our vital national interests are threatened by violent extremists, by great power competition, and all of the multifaceted challenges that you face. As I looked at recent reporting on Southcom, much attention has been on the dictator's effort to clinging to power, while in AFRICOM, the persistent presence of violent extremists. Are these events merely symptoms of a larger systemic problem in both regions? And what, in your assessments, are the prime drivers of instability in Southcom and AFRICOM? And how are your commands postured to deal with the root causes? Because it's one thing to deal with the symptoms, but what are we doing to really get to the root causes that are occurring in both of your regions?
I'll go first, Senator. Thank you very much. And I'll use Niger as an example. Niger has a population of about 19 million. About 50% of those are under the age of 15. They certainly are in a very difficult area of Africa, meaning that they have pressing from all sides, whether it be ISIS West Africa, JNIM in the west, whether it be AQ coming down through the Algeria-Nigerian border on the way to Mali. They have ISIS West Africa on their eastern flank, so they're in a tough situation. But I think this is what goes unnoticed sometimes is the whole government approach that is used in Niger. So, for example, USAID has about $150 million a year that they use for things like education, especially for young girls, for government and government infrastructure and so forth. Moreover, the Millennium Challenge Corporation has, they're on, I think, the second year of a 5-year compact down there, which has to do with agriculture, watering crops, and so forth. So if you look at the security assistance that we're providing, and you add to that USAID's effort and the Millennium Challenge Compact, that's, I think, a good example of a whole government approach of how we're trying to deal with a country that has some very significant security challenges.
Thank you. Admiral Faller?
We do have some bright spots. I'd like to point out Brazil has been an exporter of security in our history, same with Colombia, and the trajectory of both our mill-to-mill relations with those countries is very positive. In the current Venezuela situation, we're sharing a lot of information. We're looking at this as a regional solution. Chile commanded in our largest exercise, the Rim of the Pacific. But around the region, corruption, weak governance, lack of jobs, these are things that are affected, and these are where the military is part of this whole government solution. I saw this in Honduras. I was in an outreach center run by USAID. It was right next to a partnered police station. We had a few Army Civil Affairs people there meeting with some young men and women that had been supplied jobs. And I asked the one individual, he'd gone all the way to the U.S.-Mexico border and turned around and came all the way back, walked as part of the caravan, but he came back. I said, well, why'd you come back? He said, it was pretty scary for me. I felt that I should come home. I said, well, why did you go? He goes, the family next to us was starving, or we're starving, and the family next to them was starving, but across the street they had some food because their father had made it to the United States and was sending remittance back. So at the heart of this is it's the want of a better life and an economy and the want to have your kids go to school. And all citizens of all the world deserve that.
Thank you. So looking at this whole government approach, how easy has it been or for you each to work with other executive branch agencies to provide a coordinated whole government approach? And is this happening, for example, it may be happening in Niger, but is it happening in other parts of Africa? And how are we consistent in applying this approach? And what can we do to really help you be part of this team so that we can get at the root causes?
Well, Senator, I would say that the AFRICOM staff has individuals from those agencies that work very closely with us on a daily basis. Moreover, as dollars become tight, our return on investment needs to be demonstrated. And as a consequence, we have to be better stewards of our efforts in terms of where we want to place our emphasis. We need to coordinate that and synchronize that with this agency because really it gets, I think, to the larger issue of influence and the China influence as well. We need to demonstrate that we can compete with them. We may not be building soccer stadiums or government buildings, But at the same time, we're teaching them how to be better farmers. We're showing them what education can do for them. So the bottom line for us is we need to continue to work with our partners, which we have good relationships with, by the way. There's this development, diplomacy, and defense effort in the AFRICOM at State Department and with AFRICOM is very, very positive experience.
Admiral?
We have representatives from every interagency at my headquarters, and they sit in every meeting. We're working this problem set hard, and we're working in conjunction with country teams in the embassy. A consistent level of resourcing is important, and recognizing this is a problem that will take years to solve, not months or days.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.